What's up, guys? My name is Marcus Erickson. You're watching Hashtag Truth with Scott Larson.
Introducing Superjaws Indie Supercard, the first pro wrestling trading card game with real wrestlers using their real moves, but not real weapons, because they're cards. Play with over 50 wrestlers such as George South, C.W. Anderson, the Jim Nasty Boys, the Dawson Brothers, Colby Carino, and many, many more. Go to becometheace.com/store to order the Ace Series 1 set, shipping in June 2020.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Hashtag Truth. Tonight, we have the one, the only, Mr. Thomas Scott. How you doing, sir?
Hey, how you doing, Scott?
You got a good name. I'll put it like that, man. You got a good last name. Goes good with my first name.
Well, I mean, yeah. Other than you being a Redskin fan.
Oh, that hurt, man. That hurt. Mr. Alexander Polk said, "What's up, Scott? What's going on, Alexander?" My partner Chuck said, "What's up? What's up, Chuck?" Chuck knows I'm in a good mood.
Well, that's good. I didn't see Chuck last night when I was watching online, so I was wondering where he was at.
Right. Marcus Eric says Scott ×2 is here. It's not as good as me, though. He's saying it's not as good as me. Me meaning Marcus Erics. Oh, man. So what's going on, Thomas, man? We're going to start you off with the same question I ask every wrestler that's ever come on this show, man. When did it all start for you? Who was you watching back in the day? Or was you watching wrestlers? How did you get into the wrestling business?
Well, to be honest with you, I started watching wrestling probably when I was about 3 or 4 years old, watching the old Smoky Mountain, Memphis wrestling, and NWA and Georgia Championship Wrestling. My idols back then was, believe it or not, Michael P.S. Hayes. I love the guy.
Oh, beautiful intro music too.
Yeah, exactly. We'll get into that. I did something called the Freebirds years later, but anyway, in 1988, I worked for Ronnie Garvin at his car lot in North Carolina. And I detailed his cars on a summer day, and he come in, he's like, "Hey, what are you going to be when you grow up?" I said, "I want to be like you. I want to be a wrestler." So he body slammed me.
Oh, and it was the beginning of a beautiful relationship, right?
Kind of. That's what you want to call it. Well, then he asked me again, and I said wrestling, and he slammed me again. And
he was going to beat that answer out of you, literally.
Yeah, told him again that that's what I wanted to be. I never changed my mind. That's what I wanted. And then I was introduced to Nelson Royal.
Okay.
Nelson Royal, if you don't know who he is, he was the world junior heavyweight champion of the NWA.
Oh, nice.
And he retired with it. He did shows with Brad Armstrong, Harley Race. Guy was a phenomenal worker.
Well, yes, he was.
The next thing I know, I'm in a training school with Jack Victory, and Sam Houston was there. He was a trainer for him, and AJ McIntyre. No, yeah, he was there also, and I trained for almost a year.
Wow!
Before I climbed to wrestle.
So who was your first wrestling match against? Do you remember?
AJ McIntyre.
Who won? Just curious.
Huh? Actually, I don't even remember. That's been so long ago. That was years ago.
You're acting like you're old, man. You're young. You're a young puppy yet.
Oh no, I'm about to turn 50. So
Well, me too. But I'm still a young. Look at me, man. I'm still going.
I'm still every weekend as much
There
as
you
I
go.
can.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Preston, what's going on, guy? How you doing, man? Welcome to Hashtag Truth.
I still get in there and I still work out with the students. I wrestle guys. I get on there and do the best that I can and teach them what I know.
There you go, man. And that's one of the questions I was going to ask you, man. Your organization is not only just a wrestling organization, but it's also a training organization, correct?
Yes. Well, I have two. Titan Wrestling Southside is the main production. That's the one that does the big shows.
Okay.
GPW is our expansion talent, and that's where we train guys, we work with them, and get them up and ready.
Okay.
Which we have some really good. We have some really good talent down in GPW that's going to be stepping up. They're at the point of readiness. These kids are hungry.
Drop some names out there on people, man. Who's at GPW that we're gonna see pretty soon up in the ranks of Titan Wrestling Southside?
Well, we got High Performance who's already doing shows with NAWA, Titan, and a few other organizations.
Right.
Jungle Kid is a kid that's come up, and this guy is just he's phenomenal. I couldn't believe it. In the time that I've been working with him, me and Tim Hunter, my partner, have worked with this guy for a while, and he is actually about to come. He's ready to step up. And I've got a new kid, Kid Cutter, who's really, 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 he's on his way. He's not ready yet, but he's almost there.
Right.
And, now I've got to teach him promo skills. I've got to teach him how to talk on the mic and just be relatable to fans.
Right. Without a doubt, man. I mean, I see that you guys use Facebook a lot. I see you guys were up in Lincolnton doing a show. I see that GPW is on Facebook Live when they're running their shows, and it's good to see that these young guys are getting, Facebook time and time like that to be in front of a audience, even though they're still learning. And was that by choice? Did you guys agree that, hey, we need to get you guys on Facebook even though you're still training?
Well, here's my theory, and a lot of other guys are not going to like my theory, and it's mine and Tim Hunter's theory. If I put these kids on Facebook and let them do what they can do,
right?
Other work, get on there and give them critiques. Get on there and tell them, hey, try this. And then it's also nice later on that night when they can go home and they can watch their own match and watch the show and decide for themselves what the show needs to be and how it could do better. Now, this is the way me and Tim Hunter run this show, is we just train the kids. They run, we run the cameras, but they run the show. They set up their own cars. They set up their own angles. We stay out of the way.
Right.
And
well, that's good, man. So they're learning everything. I mean, I see the ring that you got. Does that ring ever come down or for GPW, or is that like a mainstay ring in somebody's, at the location where it's at?
That ring is actually the Titan ring. We use it for the GPW. It's a totally portable ring. We can take it anywhere we go.
Okay.
Of course, it's tore down now because we're redoing it, getting it ready for the big shows we got coming up. The next two shows, June 13th and July 4th.
Right.
And I'm just really, I'm tell you what, I'm really excited because GPW is actually going to do a show on July 4th at the same venue I am.
Right. Now the Facebook thing for the young kids, that can be a two-edged sword. And I'm just going to be real because you're in the hot seat. I'm just going to be real. You're going to have some you're going to have some wrestlers out there that are going to critique the kids. And then you're going to have some out there that are going to go, okay, you're backyard wrestling. You suck. You shouldn't be on. What do you have to say to those guys who say that?
Well, here's the thing. If they're backyard wrestling, how do they know how to actually move and how to actually do these moves? They're not in there watching TV and doing these. These kids are learning them.
Right.
They know how to, before they ever get on the Facebook Live, they learn how to bump, they learn how to run ropes, they learn how to do moves. It's not backyard wrestling. It's in a controlled environment because we're watching.
Right.
I've even got in there with them on the shows.
Right.
And you know, it's the thing is it's not a taste for everybody, and I understand that. But neither was Ring of Dishonor.
Right. I love it that you know somebody is out there and giving kids another opportunity to learn and go through training with some people who know what they're doing and helping them train. And it's always a good thing. And in my opinion, it's good for the community to have another organization. And just like, you know, you're seeing a lot more companies that are doing what you guys are doing. They have a training show, and I think NXT and WWE had a lot to do with this too. They have a training show over here, and then when they're done, they move up to the big show. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, that's partially what it is. And here's the other thing. These kids, they work their heart out. They come to every one of my shows. They pay their dues. They put together the ring. They clean up. They take down the ring. It's not like these kids are not paying for it, but in a sense, they're really not because we're not charging them.
Right.
I feel like kids would be doing something stupid if we wasn't there to do this.
Right.
And that's what wrestling is. I'm at the point, I mean, let's just face it. I'm 50 years old, and a lot of the guys that we have on the show are a lot older guys.
Right.
It's time for us to pass the torch to somebody else.
Right.
And that's what I see. I might see the next, you know, the people said the same thing about Omega.
Right.
They are a backyard wrestling show, but Omega was actually owned by Matt and Jeff Hardy.
Right.
And look where they're at.
Right. Well, Matt and Jeff Hardy, so Matt and Jeff Hardy is a Cinderella story in its own anyway. Matt and Jeff Hardy were literally backyard wrestlers. They wrestled on a trampoline and charged their friends money to come watch them. So, you know, it is what it is. And when but if you're doing it this way and you have a real ring and you're showing these kids how to do it and you know you're in there with them and they've got, you know, guys who've been in the business for a while training them to do, I mean, even if all they get out of it is just the basic moves, you're advancing them, you know. Exactly. At least that's my theory anyway.
Well, here's the thing. It's not every wrestler that's ever been trained wrestles like their trainer.
Right. Well, no doubt. I mean, if that was the case, we wouldn't have any, you know, teacher versus student matches, which are all over the place.
The thing is, too, is every wrestler that's ever been trained develops their own style.
Right.
Basically, you know, learned the basics in training, and then I developed it, and I developed my style. Of course, Nelson wouldn't let me go wrestle until I showed him my style, and then he helped me improve it.
There you go. It's
going to be if people give them much chance.
Right.
And so they're doing something right.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. I mean, like you said, it's good. It's good for these kids because I would rather have them, training to be wrestlers than running the streets and getting arrested and doing stupid stuff like half the world's doing right now. Even though, there's a meaning behind it. I get that. But, I would rather see anybody wrestling without a doubt.
Oh, I agree. And it gives them a chance to get somewhere.
Right. Without a doubt. Chuck Winchester said, be looking for me on Friday afternoon. Of course, we're talking about the show formerly known as Thursday Night SmackDown. Slap down here. I'm getting my own shows messed up, man. Look at that. Ringsider says, sucks to be late, but hello, my brother from California. Can't forget the California part. Marcus Harris says, that's usually a great way to do it. Most places don't even film stuff, so we can't watch back. And I think it's to me wrestling is one of them sports, and yes, I do consider it a sport where if each wrestler helps train each other and build them up, wrestling is just going to keep getting better. And like you said, when you get up to a certain age or you've been wrestling in the business for a certain number of years, unless of course your last name is Morton, you're going to pass the torch on to somebody. You're eventually going to hang up the boots and you're going to pass it on. And why not do it? I'm excited that I hear you're doing it for free. I mean, a lot of people won't do it that way. I'm just being honest. But even if you do it at a small cost and still train these guys, they're getting, they're getting something that they wouldn't get, because a lot of these kids don't have $4,000 to go spend on a wrestling school. Let's just be honest. You know what I'm saying? Did I lose you?
I agree with you 100%. Okay, I mean, I was one of those kids. I didn't have to train. I didn't have money to train, and I was actually given the opportunity and blessed by Nelson Rules. So therefore, I'm going to turn around and give my blessings back.
There you go.
And that's what a lot of people don't realize, is being able to do this is a blessing. It's
right.
It's not a job. It's a blessing. There's nothing like it. My kids, they grew up watching their daddy do it. And that was just awesome.
Exactly.
Now my grandkids get to see it.
Preston says your extreme champ is in the house. All right. I like to see that. Michael Butler come in. He said, what's up, everybody?
How you doing, Michael Butler?
Marcus Eric, again, reiterating what we've been saying, you got to start somewhere. And Wrestler Trixie, I've got to get back with you on rescheduling. I'm glad you showed up to hashtag truth. As you can see, I'm a lot better. My wife's doing a little bit better today, so I'm going to go back, and like I just rescheduled this man tonight, I'm going to be rescheduling everybody that I canceled on last week. So just sit tight, and I will get a hold of you, I promise, within the next couple of days. Sorry about that. I had to get that off my chest while I saw her. I didn't want her to not hear that.
That's no problem. She did an excellent job on some promos. She cut one on one guy. I think it was Jake Jacobs. I loved it. So,
I'm right?
Watching her. Yeah.
Oh, scared me to death, man. My daughter, my 12-year-old daughter, was watching that going, Daddy, she's killing the bear. She's killing the bear.
I loved it. I loved it. I was like,
I
wow.
did. I thought it was great, man. She took a picture. I don't know how old the picture is, if she just recently took it or whatever, but there's a picture on her Facebook page too, where she's got this stuff on one of her eyes, and she just looks so evil on there, man. I mean, for people to look into their characters and just get dark and twisted and become a character like that, I love that. That's something that I love as a fan, man.
Just to let her know she's actually on Titan's radar. I'm trying to get in there and try to grab people out. I'm trying to start a women's division also.
Right.
Just to let.
My partner Chuck said, you are shoved into a time machine. Your mission is to go back to you. That is so green. He is blue and yellow. You got one thing to say to him. What would you say? Aim for the fences, bro. If you had to go back and tell the green wrestler that was you, give yourself advice back when you first started wrestling with what you know now, what advice would you give yourself?
Run. Oh, actually, no. The advice I would give myself is no matter what you go through, how many times people tell you ain't good enough, keep going. You're going to get better.
Turn that into motivation, man. Turn it into motivation. That's what I do. Exactly. When people tell me I suck, I'm fat, I got broken teeth, I turn that into motivation.
Well, you know, the wrestler that motivated me, I met at American Pro Wrestling, was Buddy Landell.
Oh, man.
People
are name dropping some huge names on hashtag over the last few days. So you got to actually pick the brain of Buddy Landell.
Oh, absolutely. He actually came to my church afterwards and actually came to my church and had dinner with us and everything. Wonderful guy. He had his issues, don't get me wrong. But
sometimes to be a great wrestler, you got to have issues. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Oh, I got issues, trust me. But Buddy Landell, I was talking to him and I told him, I said, you know, I just don't fit in. I don't fit in like the other guys. I'm not the big guy. I'm not the little guy. I'm not the best built guy. And he said, well, neither was I, and look where I went.
Right.
So that made me think.
Wrestling is the one sport that it depends on the size of your heart where you're going to go in it. Yep. You know, that as long as you have the drive, the passion, and the heart to keep going, somebody will pick you up. As long as you're serious. This is a sport you got to be serious about. If you come in and willy-nilly, people are going to know it. I mean, people right away, fans now are in this day and age, the word mark is thrown around a lot. Okay. And there's a lot of marks out there who will point you out. Hey, look what he's doing wrong. Look what this guy's doing wrong. Look what he's doing wrong. It's crazy the way the business is now. You've really got to be on top of your game to get anywhere.
Well, another piece of advice that I would tell promoters and wrestlers is listen to the fans.
I've been preaching, brother. I've been preaching that for 3 years now.
Brother, forever, and I've told you the same thing. If you listen to your fans and you listen to the people in the crowd, guess what? They're going to come back and see you again.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt.
If you keep them happy, your organization's going to grow. Your wrestling character is going to grow. Your brand is going to grow. And that's what you have to do. Wrestling is not all about moves. It's about building your brand.
Give them something to invest in. Yes, everybody take a drink. Call me in the morning.
Exactly. I mean,
Michael Butler said, good to see you, Thomas Scott. Hit me up sometime, brother.
Oh, I will, Michael. I remember talking to him at another show.
There you go. We're gonna talk about that in just a second. When it comes to Ric Flair, he absolutely bores me, Buddy Landell. Yeah. Okay.
They did a little thing with Memphis Wrestling and NWA back in the day, and it was the Battle of the Nature Boys. It was Buddy Landell and Ric Flair. It was some of the best stuff I'd ever seen.
Buddy
Landell was an awesome worker, and
not a lot of people know that Ric Flair actually got Nature Boy from another wrestler too. He's not the original Nature Boy either.
No, he's not.
But in my heart, he will always be the only Nature Boy.
I think, in my opinion, the Nature Boy Ric Flair was the guy that took Nature Boy to a whole new level.
Right.
He's carbon copy because he wasn't like the preceding Nature Boy. he was a guy that could talk. He could work.
Well,
He would-
the one thing about the Nature Boy, and nobody can deny this, he lived his character. The Nature Boy was the Nature Boy 24/7, and still is.
I remember back after I got out of training, I'd been wrestling for a few years, and Nelson Royal had passed away. God rest his soul. I love Nelson. He was like my father after my father died, and
Right.
Him and Wahoo died within a year apart.
Oh,
And I love because I
sad.
traveled with Wahoo also. Me and Ricky Holder, who was Wahoo McDaniel's stepson, we did the shows all over Marion, Mount Airy, Morganton, Hildebrand, places like that together. And I ran into Ric Flair at a Napa in Charlotte on Wilkinson Boulevard, and I introduced myself to him, and he said, "Oh, you're Nelson's boy." And I said, "Well, yeah, I guess, because me and AJ McIntyre was the last students in Nelson's school."
Okay.
And he said, "How's Nelson doing?" I said, "He's been dead for 5 years." He just didn't even realize it. He was like, "Wow," and just kept walking. But
Look, there's egg on my face right now.
yeah, but the thing is he was cool about it, but he was that guy that just he just dismissed it quickly, but he was cool about how he dismissed it. It wasn't anything bad. He was just the Nature Boy.
Right. Michael Butler said Flair took that gimmick to a new level. Hogan was a carbon copy of the superstar Billy Graham. Now, I have to say one thing. Now, you will catch nowadays. Let's bring it back to independent wrestling now. There are a lot of kids coming into this, into wrestling, that are watching them superstars from the 80s, 90s, the guys that, they're watching, that we watched, through the 80s and 90s, and they're picking bits and pieces from these gimmicks, and they're putting them into their gimmicks. There's not too many gimmicks out there that are totally original, which is cool. It just happens. There's so many wrestlers that's bound to happen. But
Well, I mean,
don't imitate. Don't imitate, because that makes fans upset.
when I first got in business, everybody was a junior. I had Harley Race Jr. that was a worker. There were so many of them, and even Kabbalah had a junior. And I'm like, come on, be original.
Right?
I don't that. Be original. It's
I
something.
mean, we got wrestlers out there that are coming out saying they're the real Nature Boy, coming out and doing the woo and all that.
Yeah,
dude, get off my TV, get off whatever you're on, get off my Facebook. There is nobody who's ever gonna be Ric Flair. Nobody. We can act like it, always imitate it, never duplicate it. It's not gonna happen.
I can't really say anything. My buddy Tim Hunter, he does a Nature Boy gimmick, but he calls himself Stroking Tim.
Right.
I like does it because he knows he's not the Nature Boy. He's just being whatever the guy's actually.
Right. I mean, if you're doing it to be funny, that's a different thing. That's cool. But if you really believe that you're the real Nature Boy, oh, please get away from me. Get away from me. I don't even want to see you. You're a joke. And I've seen Tim Hunter do the Nature Boy. It's entertaining. It is entertaining.
Entertainment. Now, I have been in an arena with a guy that thought he was the Nature Boy. I'm not going to say his name because he's not very well liked, so I'm just not going to say his name.
In wrestling, somebody who's not really well liked? Never. Come on, man.
I mentioned his name about bringing him in to do a show, and everybody's like, no. I'm like, okay.
Chuck Winchester said Buddy Rogers will always be the real Nature Boy, and that was from Ric Flair himself. There you go.
Absolutely.
Preston said, don't be a Charlotte Flair. Now, I'm going to say something right there, Preston. That girl can work, and her daddy has even said, go on the network and watch the interview with Stone Cold that the Nature Boy had, he even said on that show that my daughter can work better than I could. I had the gimmick, but she could outwork me. And that, wow, that my jaw dropped when I saw him say that. I was like, wow.
You know, I'd always wanted to see like a 4 horseman with the women, because Tessa Blanchard's also a worker, and she is an excellent worker.
She won a men's champion. You know, you got to say it that way. She won a men's championship beating a man. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and she didn't beat no slouch. She beat Sammy Callahan. I've seen that guy work.
Right.
He's awesome.
Right?
And
that's what I'm saying.
He was not easy on her when she wanted. I mean, it was, you know.
They showed behind the scenes after she had won it. She was in tears, dude. She was in tears. All the people came back there to congratulate her, and she was literally in tears.
We know nowadays there's so many great workers out that I can see, and it's usually the indie circuit or smaller organizations I've been watching, and I don't watch a lot of wrestling. I just don't. Indie wrestling. That's my passion. That's what I love is indie wrestling.
I've since COVID, I have to admit, I haven't been watching TV wrestling. Very few and far between. I'm waiting for the crowds to come back to me. I'm sorry. I know people would disagree. I know workers would disagree, but to me, without the fans, it's not the same. It's just not the same.
Really isn't, and it's hard.
And I just want to make sure that everybody knows I'm not down in the wrestlers. I'm not down in WWE. They're doing the best they can with what they've got. I understand that. I do. But wrestling is a crowd gathered to be part of the show. It always will be.
I agree with you too, because me personally, I can't sit and watch it on TV without a crowd, because the crowd's what feeds it. That feeds the energy.
Right.
And that's something that I look forward. Even when I'm wrestling, I know I'm not. I can tell when the crowd's there.
Right.
I can see the difference.
Right.
I was also.
I mean, in WWE. I mean, I was watching. I think it was WrestleMania 15 or something like that the other day. Just went back, did a nostalgia trip and went back and watched. I said, I'm going to pick a WrestleMania and just watch it. And man, people cheering, people throwing up posters. I mean, that's the way it is, man. When a wrestler comes out and you got his poster, you made a poster for him and you could be on TV. That's part of the show.
That's that I love. I mean, I remember a time when I wasn't quite right with the fans. I should say, I had them chasing me around the ring with a claw hammer.
Oh man!
But the thing
So is that the craziest thing that's ever happened to you? Because that's usually one of my questions. You had a person chasing you around the ring with a claw hammer?
Well, that's not the craziest thing.
Oh my gosh. It gets crazier.
But when I got back to the locker room and I went to apologize to the promoter because maybe I took it a little too far, probably. Right. And he looked at me, he said, Ricky Morton looked at me. He was in the locker room. He said, "Don't you apologize." And I said, "Why not?" You did your job.
When Ricky Morton speaks, it's done. It's done.
Good.
He's like that commercial for the bank, man. When he speaks, everybody listens.
Oh, the greatest thing about him is when I first met him years ago, I was nervous because actually it was my second show. And I got Ricky Morton on there. And I'm like, okay, I grew up watching this dude, this is a big deal. And I go in there and all he's doing is telling dirty jokes.
He knows how to loosen people up and have fun, dude. He's always been that way.
Oh,
and I've met him, I think 3 times in person. And one time I got to interview him, and the other 2 times I got to watch him wrestle. And it was amazing. It was fun. I mean, just you could stand 5 feet away from him and listen to the stories he tells, and you never get bored, dude. You never, ever, ever get bored.
Well, that's like I tell a lot of promoters. Ricky, he's up there in age, but I'm telling you what, if you book him on your show, you're going to have fans come out of the woodworks, for one, if you promote it. And the
guy went on NWA and did a suicida dive at the age of 60.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the dude is just.
You talking about my jaw drop? My wife had to literally lift my lower lip back up to my face because I was like, "Are you kidding me?" And then he came in, and I don't know, I can't remember what the name of the move is, but he grabbed the rope, he jumped up, and he flipped the dude, and I was like, 60 years old.
What he did was called a Canadian destroyer.
Yeah, that's it, Canadian destroyer. And I was like, what am I watching? My partner was talking about a time machine before. I'm like, dude, did they put him in a time machine before he walked out there? Because that's crazy.
Well, have you ever met his son, Kerry?
I interviewed Kerry on #Truth.
Now, that kid, I remember seeing him when he was like 12. And he was crawling around the top of Rey Mysterio. And I'm like, that's the one that needs to be wrestling right now. And he said he's young to work. And I'm like, oh, my God.
I've seen some matches with Kerry. Kerry has got his daddy's you could tell Kerry's been following his daddy and the School of Morton, and he's been in there he grew up in wrestling. His whole life around his daddy was wrestling, and he'll tell you in a heartbeat. He was surrounded by it.
Yeah, exactly. And I love Ricky. I love it when he's on a show. And through the years, I've had the pleasure of working a lot of guys. I've never got to work Ricky, except one time I did a spot and he shaved my head, and it never. So thank you.
You had hair?
Yeah, one time I had hair. Ricky took away from me. But I've had the chances of working R-Truth. I've wrestled him.
Oh, that man. I'm sorry, I said it the other night on the show. That man is comedic. That guy's funny. He's a comedy genius, and he can wrestle on top of it. So you've got he's everything bundled in one, man. I love R-Truth. He just needs to get away from that 24/7 crap.
Oh, yeah. But, the one other thing about R-Truth that people don't realize, he's also a master in Sambo. This guy can really mess you up.
Oh, I would believe it. I would believe it. I would. Seeing some of the moves that he does in the ring, he's legit.
Me and him went to high school together and ended up both becoming wrestlers. And I remember seeing him in high school. This guy played for the Harding Rams.
Right.
They were all state. And this dude, you give him, if you want a touchdown, you give Ron the football. That's it. You ain't got to do nothing else. This dude's going to go.
Right.
Well,
that's awesome.
I've had the opportunity to share the locker room with Chris, who was an ECW guy.
Oh,
Steve Corino.
That dude you do not want to get super kicked by. Just saying.
Oh no. That dude
Just saying.
I've had it happen. I'm missing some teeth still from him.
I love it. Michael Butler, back when we were talking about it, says you have to take pieces from gimmicks and put them together, Scott. You're right. Chuck said Paulie. Preston said Paulie. Michael Butler said Preston done bumped his head too much. We've all done that a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Michael Butler said he's giving him a piece of advice. Tuck your chin, Preston. Just saying. Tuck your chin, son. She did steal Rick's gimmick. Who stole Rick's gimmick?
I think he's talking about Charlotte Flair. In a way.
No. You don't steal a gimmick when it's your son or daughter. I'm sorry. I'll say that. Okay. I mean, she comes out with the robe and she comes out with the music, but when you're Ric Flair's daughter and he's a what 2-time champion, 16-time champion, 2-time Hall of Famer, or something like that, 3-time Hall of Famer. You have the right to come out with your daddy's stuff. I mean,
and it's not really stealing if
no,
they do you. And the thing is she took it and made it her own, and I like that.
I guarantee you, the first time she came out with all that stuff, she took more heat than you could imagine.
God, yeah, I would imagine that. And like Tessa, the thing I like about her is she's got not only a famous father in wrestling, but a famous
and she's just as tough as her daddy too.
Yeah, and she doesn't use their gimmicks at all.
No.
Her stepdad and dad had some of the best matches in the world.
Right.
And if you go back and watch the I Quit match in Starrcade 1988, you'll see one of the best I Quit matches you ever seen.
Right. Without a doubt. Lazarus Black, how you doing, man? Mr. Black Society himself. What's up, Dizzy?
What's up, Lazarus? That's my boy there. I love Lazarus.
Now I've got to ask you. I asked you. We had a phone call about a week or so ago, and I was curious because I was watching Titan Wrestling Southside when you guys were up there in Lincoln. How'd that come about? First of all, how'd that come about with you going up there to Chad Scott's, up there to the Party Pavilion and having that show? How'd that come about?
I was tired of not seeing wrestling, and I love Chad, and I love USA Main Event. I've even worked for him.
Oh yeah.
I respect Chad Scott because that man has so many ideas. He is an innovator in it. I mean, he was around in Kentucky when I lived in Kentucky.
Oh yeah.
And it's really weird because people think that me and him are actually kin. We're not kin. We're from the same area, but we're not kin.
Right.
That I know of. But Chad Scott, that dude is an amazing mind.
Right.
Took something.
Now I'm not gonna lie to anybody. There has been times when I have called him up myself personally, talking about my podcast and things like that, and I've asked him professional questions. And dude, you talking about professionals all get out. He had an answer just like that.
Well, I'm going to tell you how I got this show going. I'm on the phone. I talk to Preston Scrantz and Brad Harris daily, and Tim Hunter. I talk to them daily. I love the guy. If you guys love them or hate them, that's fine with me. I don't have a problem with them. I love them.
Bad press is still press.
I love them to death. The thing is I see a lot of things that they can do that people don't realize. Well, Preston comes in, he's like, "Oh, we need to get a show going. We need to get a show out there right now." And I got to thinking about it, and I'm like, he's right. We do. We got to get a show. I've been having this Titan since January, and the pandemic shut us down. We was going to do a show March 28th. Going to shut us down. So I told Preston, I said, "Well, I'll call Chad Scott and talk to him and see what he thinks." I said, "If we can do it, go ahead and get some guys together." Right. I get off the phone with Chad. Not only am I doing the show,
it was booked before you got off the phone, right?
Oh, brother, I'm telling you, Preston had got a hold of everybody. I was probably overbooked. The dude, Preston, you put his mind to it, he's going to do it. There's no doubt about it. If owners would see what I see, they would hire him every day. I mean, he gets on there, and the dude, I love him to death. He's like my little brother. Right. I know a lot of guys don't like him, but that's them. I don't care. Right. I don't have heat with anybody. But
that's wrestling, though. That's wrestling. You don't need a reason to have heat with somebody in wrestling.
Oh, exactly.
You just look funny. I don't like you. There you go.
But Preston and Brad Harris and Tim Hunter, those guys over the past 7 months have become my family.
There you go.
I can talk
Well,
I
you
can
guys
call
are
back.
you guys are basically running a show together. So I mean, I can understand that. That's like me and my partner Chuck. You know, we talk on a day-to-day basis. He's the producer of this show, and we do a show together on Friday afternoons. And of course, we're going to talk a lot. So we become family. I mean, you're not going to spend that much time talking with somebody, putting something together, and not get to know them. I mean, you're crazy if you think that.
Yeah, and the one thing is, Preston knows when he starts going. Or Preston's one of those guys. Me and him will get together and we'll talk for hours, but then
Right.
we'll go week and talk every day, and then me or him want to do something and make each other mad. We blow up at each other. Don't talk for an hour.
Now,
and
there
then
was a time, now correct me if I'm wrong, there was a time when you two had heat with each other and you guys were like doing promos on Facebook against each other and
Preston. That was me and Slow
oh,
Time.
okay, so that was somebody else.
Yeah, that was Slow Time Shinamite, Brees Pettis.
Oh, that's right. Dynamite. That's right. Okay, I got you.
Just for everybody to know, and this is ethics on how to get booked.
Right.
Don't aggravate the hell out of the promoter. A promoter will call you.
Right.
If they want to use you, they'll call you. You don't bully them.
I mean, it's one thing to call a promoter and say, "Hey, I'm available."
Exactly.
And then there is to basically be a stalker.
I mean, I'm sitting there eating dinner with my family. My phone's ringing off the hook. Why won't you book me? Why won't you book me? And I'm like, dude, seriously, I just told you I needed 15 minutes to myself, and then
Wasn't that the guy I did the rant on because he called like 3 of your family members or something like that?
The dude was unbelievable.
Right?
He called my brother in Kentucky, who used to wrestle years ago. He calls him and asks him, he's like, "Hey, Fear, how come your brother won't book me?" And my brother, he's fun as can be. Probably can't wrestle. Me and my brother, you got to realize we're two different people. He doesn't care if he gets me.
Oh my God.
People happy. But,
right.
And it's just Preston. He's actually helped me deter some of those guys too. He'll go in there and, hey, listen, leave him alone.
Right. Without a doubt. So we've got like 13 minutes left in the show. So what I'm going to do is I am going to put up a poster. I want you to talk about this show. I know there's another one before this, and we'll talk about that also. But I didn't know that until just a few hours ago. So I don't, there's not another poster, but we got one for the 4th of July, and I want you to talk about that and tell everybody everything they need to know about that one. So let me put this up here, and you do your thing, man.
All right, this right here is War of the Indies. It's actually going to be a GPW show during the day. New Blood Championship Wrestling during midday.
Okay.
And then at night, where you're going to have Titan. And I got some great talent on this show. I really do. I got the Black Society, the Sons of Rebellion. I got Roma Miller coming from Alabama. I got Jake Jacobs coming. Me, of course, I'm going to defend my belt. I do every time I step in the ring. I don't play. I've got Preston, Twisted Kane. He's going to be there. Stroking Tim Hunter's going to be there. Then I got Hopper, a bunch of other guys, and I don't even know who all New Blood's got bringing. So we're going to, it's an interesting thing. It's a festival kind of. It's something that I've been wanting to do. I wanted to do it for 3 days and have a bunch of promoters, but unfortunately not a bunch of promoters had my idea. So
there you go. So what made you decide to do 2 shows in one day? Because not a lot of companies do 2 shows in one day.
Well, the GPW is for mainly the family-oriented show. I want, that's for the kids and things. The nighttime shows, they're going to be adult shows. We're going to, got a hardcore match. I don't think that would be appropriate for kids to watch. I want stuff that people. So
the nighttime show isn't going to be your PG-17 type or the PG-13 type show.
No, it's going to be more in between PG-13 and rated R as far as it
Okay.
goes. I do with this one. It's not going to be every show do like this, but it's 4th of July. We're going to have fireworks, and it's at a bar. So we're
Hey,
going to have.
can you put three better things together? I don't think so. fireworks, alcohol, and wrestling. Hey, there you go. That's a great mix right there.
I hired for it. I'm not playing with that. But the one that I'm most interested in is next Saturday. We're doing it to divert all the brutality and protesting of riots.
Okay.
We're going to have wrestling. We're going to have comedians, rappers, and public speakers to have a peaceful protest.
There you go.
And when they call
that's what I love to see. That's what I love to see. That's what I love to hear. Not that I'm anybody, but it. And again, it wasn't a promo or anything, but I did a little video talking about how I felt about everything that was going on, and during the day, the peaceful protest. At night, the world's burning, man. I love my country too much to see what's going on, man. And it hurts me to see that there's a part of our nation out there that's hurting. We need to all come together, man. Just like we do in wrestling. We need to come together as a nation, man, and stop all the hate. Just stop the hate.
Well, that's what we talked about. Is when they called me and talked to me about it yesterday. It was for us to divert people from going downtown and doing all the violence. Let us do the violence. We're the wrestlers. Give them something to watch. Have public speakers that's going to come out and actually, yes, the Gypsy King Ringsiders.
It's going to be a bloodbath, says Lazarus Black of Black Society. Michael Butler says alcohol and wrestling. Sign me up. And Mike Riggs said, "Hey Scott and hey Thomas. Hey Mike, welcome to Hashtag Truth."
When they called me and they talked to me about doing this show, I was a little nervous at first because, it's something that I what they're doing, I believe in, is basically what I'm trying to say. But we're going to have comedians there that's actual out-of-work comedians right now to lighten the mood. Professional wrestling to give entertainment. Then we're also going to have some guys that's getting on there and they're talking to people about, hey, let's do this peacefully.
Right.
We don't play this. But we're
that's
also
cool, man.
Not playing.
The only part about the whole thing that I've, the only part that from somebody on the outside looking in is the alcohol might do a little bit of tricks on that part, the peaceful part. sometimes when people get a little bit of alcohol in them, the peacefulness kind of goes away.
Well, the thing is the alcohol completely out of the bar that day. We're not serving alcohol. I think we're serving free food that day for the kids.
Okay, and, cool beans. That sounds cool, man. I like to hear that. So it's basically going to be a fun place all the way around and cool.
Yeah, that's what I think. I try to do things like this all the time. I try to do charities a lot, and I do charities a lot. And you got, if you're going to be a promoter and you want to be successful, you got to give to your community too.
Yeah, always give back, no matter who you are.
Yeah, exactly.
TJ Hayes, okay. I don't know what that was all about.
I don't either. Oh, TJ is going to be there too, I guess.
Oh, okay, I got you. Okay, there you go.
Yeah. I don't.
Do you know the lineup? Do you know all the lineup? There's so many people coming, you probably don't even know the whole lineup, do you?
Every time I drop something on Facebook that, hey, I'm going to do this, guys start calling me from all over. And one of the great talents that I'm booking hopefully really soon that's coming to the Carolinas is Marcus Eric.
Oh, man. Marcus Eric comes to the Carolinas. I'm there, brother. I'm just going to say it outright. I am front row. I will buy. Call me the second that happens. As soon as you get off the telephone, I will buy a front row ticket for my family, bro.
Well,
I will be there.
Hey, Scott, you got VIP, brother. Your money's no good with me.
Gotta work. I'll be there. I'll use the money that I'm supposed to buy the tickets, and I'll buy me a Marcus Eric shirt. I know how to reinvest into it.
I'll tell you what, I love being on this show. This was like great for me. I mean, I've been trying to get.
Well, I enjoy it. I love talking to all the local promoters, man. The promoters in North Carolina, South Carolina, all the promoters out there, and it's always fun to find out, you know, what they think about wrestling, their vision of independent wrestling. And we've always had good talks. We both have each other's numbers. I mean, we call each other a few, you know, here and there, and talk wrestling. It's always a good time, man. I like what you're doing at Titan. I like the guys you're training, and it's always a fun time, man.
Oh, I try to make it fun. I try to make it, you know, I'm about mentally retarded anyway. I've been hitting the head with way too many chairs to be serious about life. But one thing about is there's not one of us Carolina promoters that's got a lick of damn sense, except for maybe Chad. That's the reason.
Well, he and I love Chad Scott to death too, but you know, he can throw him back on Facebook, and what's great about him is he can throw him back the whole hour he's on Facebook and still be as funny as he was when he first started the show when he wasn't drinking. So that's pretty cool right there. That's a good talent to have.
Hey, when you talk to him next time, ask him what I charge him when I come up there.
Okay, I will do that. I will definitely do that. Ringsider says, speaking of a Marcus Eric shirt, we still need 3. And they're right there in California. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, Marcus, let's get to talking about this.
Yeah, hook these people up, Marcus. Listen, listen, Linda, listen.
You know, I love Marcus. I saw him the other day, and the dude is a trip. He's hilarious.
Michael Butler said, Preston, did you hit Thomas in the head with a chair?
Hey, but I tell you, I really would like to get a hold of Michael Butler. I'm actually going to give him a call here in a little bit.
Oh, run, Michael, run.
Got to get with our.
I'm joking, man. At least you gave him a warning. I'm just kidding. So again, before we get off here, man, tell everybody about your 2 upcoming shows. Drop some names about some people who are going to be on the shows, and tell them exactly where they're going to be at. And when you get to the second show, I'll throw the poster up there where they can see the address. The show is going to be at the same place, right? Both shows are going to be at Moody's Lounge. Okay.
Yeah, it's going to be at 2525 North Graham Street on Moody's Lounge in Charlotte, North Carolina. The first show, June 13th, it's all about ending the brutality. We're trying to stop stuff. We got people like Roma Miller coming up. I'm going to wrestle. Tim Hunter's going to wrestle.
I think I might have got the dates on the wrong poster, but yeah, I think this one's supposed to be the 13th, and the other one's supposed to be. But that's all right. They'll figure it out.
Yeah, you're gonna have Aftershock there. You're gonna have Preston Scrunts, Twisted Cane. Brad Harris, Alexander Polk is even going to make his wrestling debut there.
Oh man, can't wait for that. That's going to be awesome.
Wait till you see how much we have worked with this guy.
Oh, yes.
He's going to be great. And
I think he is too. He's a hard worker. He is a kid who really wants to be known in the business, and I bet he works really hard in there.
Yes, he does. He's the kid's got heart. And
without a doubt.
And the 4th of July show, of course, we have Jake Jacobs, AJ Daniels.
You know we're going to be there for that one.
Oh yeah. I already know.
My daughter would kill me 3 times over if we didn't show up to a Jake Jacobs if he was anywhere within 100 miles of us.
Oh, I can imagine. He seems to be really hot on the circuit. I mean, so
He's good. I ain't gonna lie to you. My daughter's got a shrine to him in the bedroom. I ain't lying. So
well, my daughter's not allowed to come to the wrestling show this week or this month.
right.
I don't
Without a doubt.
Wrestlers.
Right.
They
Well,
like me.
Thomas, it has been good talking to you, man. Without a doubt, you can always come back to hashtag Truth, man. Just hit me up when I'd like to have you come back after these shows air and after you have them and come back and talk to us and tell us what's going on during the shows.
Okay, I definitely will, brother. And hey, man, my pleasure. I loved it. Chuck Winchester. I'll see you Friday night.
Oh,
That dude's crazy.
don't I know? Check us out Friday afternoon at 1:05, and you'll see just how crazy we are.
Wait on him, kind of like the CeeLo Green of announcing now. I mean,
I got you. Well, let me put it out there like this, man. Titan, Southside. You got to go out there and see these guys. They're up and coming. They're trainers. Titan Southside is the big show. GPW.
yes.
Is the training show where all the kids are learning to get up. Both shows are great shows. You got to get out and watch them. These kids are doing some extraordinary things, and they are going to be the future of wrestling, just like a lot of these other ones that are coming up. And that is the hashtag truth. We'll see you guys later. Thanks a lot, Thomas.
Later, brother.